Dear students, let's start the chapter 9. This is the next chapter of civics, a shirt in the market. We studied the previous chapter, markets around us, in which we discussed about the market chain. In this chapter, with the example of a shirt, we'll try to understand that how the product is reached to the customers from producer, right? And who are the people engaged in this chain, buying and selling, because buying and selling takes place at every step in the chain, but all the people engaged in this chain are not taking equal benefits, right? Or they do, some people benefit more than others. We shall find out by reading this chapter. First of all, a cotton farmer in Kurnool. So, as you know that we are taking the example of a shirt. How the shirt reaches to the markets and what is the process, what is the chain from the producer of a raw material uh, to the customer. A cotton farmer in Kurnool grows cotton. A farmer, Swapna. She is a small farmer in Kurnool. Kurnool is a place in Andhra Pradesh. She grows cotton on a small piece of land. It means she has small piece of land. The balls of the cotton plant are ripe and some have already burst. So Swapna is busy picking cotton. The balls which carry the cotton in them do not burst open all at once, so it takes several days to harvest the cotton. In this paragraph, we have to understand that growing cotton is very difficult and long process. It is hard working process and time consuming process, right? Picking balls and harvesting it. Once the cotton is collected, instead of selling it at Kurnool cotton market, she is not selling it to Kurnool cotton market. She and her husband take the harvest to the local trader. Why they carried it to the local trader? At the beginning of the cropping season, because at the beginning of cropping season, Swapna had borrowed 2500 rupees from this trader at a very high interest rate to buy seeds, fertilizers, pesticides for cultivation. It means the farmers who grow cotton in their fields, they need seeds, fertilizers and pesticides. For that they required money for cultivation. So at the same time, the local trader made Swapna agree to another condition. What was the another condition? The another condition was that he made her promise to sell all her cotton to him. It means after harvesting, Swapna has to sell all her cotton to the same trader. Cultivation of cotton requires high levels of input such as fertilizers and pesticides. And the farmers have to incur heavy expenses on account of these. Most often, the small farmers need to borrow money to meet these expenses. So, in the same way, Swapna had to borrow money from the trader. At the trader's yard, two of his men weigh the bags of cotton at a price of 1500 per quintal. The cotton fetches rupees 6000. The trader deducts 3000 for repayment of loan and interest and pays Swapna rupees 3000 rupees. Swapna 3000 only, because Swapna got only 3000 rupees, but she knows that the cotton worth of 6000 rupees. Trader is saying cotton is selling cheap. Cotton is selling cheap. There is a lot of cotton in the market. Swapna, I have toiled so hard for 4 months to grow this cotton. You can see how fine and clean the cotton is this time. It means Swapna wants to tell that there is good quality of cotton is this, and I had hoped to get a much better price. Then trader is saying, Amma, I am giving you a good price. Other traders are not even paying this much. You can check at the Kurnool market if you do not believe me. Swapna is saying, don't be angry. How can I doubt you? I had only hoped that we would earn enough from the cotton crop to last us a few months. Though Swapna knows that cotton will sell for at least rupees 1800 per quintal, she doesn't argue further. Why? Because she has to take money from the trader. Trader is powerful person in the village. Many people need him in taking loans because to meet many expenses and other exigencies such as illness, children's school fees, and sometimes marriages, etc. Also, there are times in the year when there is no work and no income for the farmers. So, borrowing money is the only means of survival. So, for their livelihood, they are dependent on the trader in taking loans and to borrow money. Swapna's earning from cotton cultivation is barely more than what she might have earned as a wage laborer. Now, the cloth market of Erode. Before starting this topic, we have to come back to these questions here. Did Swapna get a fair price on the cotton? Definitely, Swapna did not get a fair price on the cotton because in the market perhaps the rate is 1800 rupees per quintal, but she gets only 1500 rupees. Why did the trader pay Swapna a low price? Because Swapna is completely dependent on trader, and the trader gave the money as loan to Swapna, and now Swapna is completely bounded. She is bounded to give her all cotton to the trader, and now the trader has the option, clear, to give her money according to his own wish, and he wants to get more and more profit. Where do you think large farmers would sell their cotton? The large farmers would sell their cotton to the Kurnool market. How is their situation different from Swapna? Swapna has to borrow some money from trader, so she promised to trader to sell all her cotton to the trader. But large farmers means they are not bounded, and they are free because they did not borrow money, they did not take any kind of loan from the traders. So they are free to sell their cotton anywhere according to their profit. This is the process. First of all, trader sells the cotton at the Kurnool cotton market. Ginning mill buys the cotton. After that, the trader gets cotton from the poor farmers, small farmers from the village, and after that trader sells the cotton at the Kurnool cotton market. Right? Although the large farmers sell their cotton to directly the Kurnool cotton market, after that ginning mill buys the cotton from the merchants. Ginning mill removes the seeds and presses the cotton into bales, and this bale is going to spinning mills. It means spinning mills buys the bales, and the spinning mill spins the cotton into yarn, and this yarn goes to yarn dealers. Yarn dealers yarn dealers carry these yarns to the garments industries or factories. So after that, the further process to make the shirt. Now this one, the cotton market of Erode. Erode's bi-weekly cloth market in Tamil Nadu is one of the largest cloth markets in the world. A large variety of cloth is sold in this market. Cloth that is made by weavers in the villages around is also brought here for sale. It means nearby villages, in the nearby villages, weavers are there. Weavers, the people who weave the yarn and to make the cloth, clear. So they prepare this textile or cloth, and they brought here for sale. Around the market are offices of cloth merchants who buy this cloth. So merchants buy this cloth from the weavers. Other traders from many South Indian towns also come and purchase cloth in this market. So traders purchase cloth and weavers carry the cloth to sell to the merchants. On market days, you would also find weavers bringing cloth that has been made on order from the merchant. Merchant gave them orders to prepare the cloth, and weavers complete that, and then they bring it to the market. These merchants supply cloth on order to garment manufacturers and exporters around the country. They purchase the yarn and give instructions to the weavers about the kind of clothes, that what kind of cloth they need and they have to make. In the following example, we can see how this is done. We can see first here, this one, first figure. This is a merchant shop in the bazaar. Over the years, these traders have developed extensive contacts with garment firms around the country from whom they get orders. So these traders purchase the yarn from others. Second, the weavers live in villages around and take the yarn supplied by these traders. So they take yarn and after that they weave it with the looms, hand looms or the power looms. So the weavers and their families spend long hours working on these looms. Most weaving units have about 2 to 8 power looms on which the yarn is woven into cloth. A variety of saris, towels, shirting, ladies, dress material and bed sheets are produced in these looms. This one, third picture. They then bring back the finished cloth to the traders. After preparing the cloth, they bring it to the traders. Here they can be seen getting ready to go to the merchant in the town. The trader keeps an account of the yarn given and pays them money for weaving this into cloth. Putting out system, weavers producing cloth at home. How they prepare the cloth. The merchant distributes work among the weavers based on the orders he has received for cloth. The weavers get the yarn from the merchant and supply him the cloth. Here we have to understand the process that merchant distributes work among the weavers. It means he give them order that how much and what kind of quality cloth they have to make. The weavers get the yarn from the merchant. It means merchant give them yarn and after that weavers prepare that yarn into the cloth. So for the weavers this arrangement seemingly has two advantages. What advantages? First, they do not have to spend their money on purchase of yarn. It means they are not supposed to purchase yarn and to spend money on this. Also the problem of selling the finished cloth is taken care of. It means weavers are not required to move in the market to sell their products. So weavers know from the outset what cloth they should make and how much of it is to be woven. However, this dependence on the merchants both for raw materials and markets means that the merchants have a lot of power. It means here in this condition merchants are powerful. They give orders for what is to be made and they pay a very low price for making the cloth. So the weavers have no way of knowing what they are making the cloth for or at what price it will be sold because it is decided by the merchants. At the cloth market, the merchants sell the cloth to the garment factories, right, in the profitable prices. In this way, the market works more in favor of the merchants. So merchants get more profit, weavers get less profit. Weavers invest all their savings or borrow money at high interest rates to buy looms. Each loom costs rupees 20,000. So a small weaver with 2 looms has to invest rupees 40,000. The work on these looms cannot be done alone. Means all the family members of the weavers are engaged in the weaving the clothes. So the weaver and another adult member of his family work up to 12 hours a day to produce cloth. For all this work they earn about 3,500 rupees per month only. So the arrangement between the merchant and the weavers is an example of putting out system. So this is the putting out system, uh, whereby the merchant supplies the raw material and receives the finished product. It means merchant is the main person in this putting out system. Merchants give the yarn to the weavers, and weavers prepare the cloth and give it back to the trader, or means the merchant. So merchants sell this prepared cloth to the garment factories at high prices. So it is prevalent in the weaving industries most regions of India. So dear students, now we'll discuss about weavers cooperative. As we have discussed that in the putting out system, weavers are not in profitable condition. Only merchants get more and more profit. Weavers cooperative. We have seen that the weavers are paid very little by the merchant under the putting out system, as we have discussed. Weavers cooperatives are one way to reduce the dependence on the merchant and to earn a higher income for the weavers. In a cooperative, people with common interest come together and work for their mutual benefits. So this is the main feature of a cooperative. So many cooperative societies are there for the laborers, for the suppliers of the raw material, for the weavers, etc. In a weavers cooperative, the weaver form a group and take up certain activities collectively. They procure yarn from the yarn dealer and distribute it among the weavers. It means weaver members of the cooperative. The cooperative also does the marketing, so the role of merchant is reduced. So marketing is done by themselves of the cooperative's member, and weavers get a fair price on the cloth. So in this way, weavers cooperatives are very beneficial for the weavers especially. At times the government helps the cooperatives by buying cloth from them at a reasonable price. So they don't bother about the markets. They sell their products to the government also. For instance, the Tamil Nadu government runs a free school uniform program in the state. The government procures the cloth for this program from the powerloom weavers cooperatives. Similarly, the government buys cloth from the handloom weavers cooperatives and sells it through stores known as co-optex. You might have come across one of these stores in your town, so probably you can think about it that how this is useful for weavers cooperatives. So dear students, we have completed today's topics. In the next video, we'll study about the rest of the topics of this chapter.